This is the Sri Upanishad, Vedic literature. We're reading from Mantra 10. So, Sri Upanishad, Mantra 10. The wise have explained to us that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge, and it is said that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience. There are two. There's the science, or the knowledge, and then there's the nescience, or ignorance. People think that one can only learn knowledge. Whatever we learn, that is okay. And the more you learn something, it doesn't matter what it is, the more knowledgeable you are. Like if you can quote many books, and you can use sophisticated terminology, then you are recognized as a learned man. But from the Vedic literatures, we get to know that you can also learn ignorance. Seems like a contradiction. How can you learn ignorance? But yes, it is possible. You can learn something that is not knowledge, but the opposite of knowledge, ignorance. And Srila Prabhupada very scientifically, with logic and arguments, has proven in his books that what is going on now in the name of educational system is simply teaching people how to be ignorant, how to be an ass. Yasyatma buri kunapeti dhatuke swakalatradishu ijabomadi. Yattetta buri sharimna karichit janeshu abigesu saiva bhokara. This is a quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It explains, it analyzes the life of a materialist. Yasyatma buddhi kunapetri dhatuke. A materialist thinks that he is this body, a simple combination of these material elements. Kapha, Vayu, and I forgot the third one in the Ayurvedic medicine. It is explained that the body consists of air, water, and fire. So one who is very foolish, he thinks that, oh, I am this combination of these different elements. And persons who are related to the body, the family, he considers to be his kinsman. Just like I think, oh, this is my family, so I take special care of my family. And there are other families, there are many other people who also have that mentality. I take care of my family. So many different families there. Everyone is, focusing on their own family, bringing sense gratification, serving his own family. And these families, they create more larger units, communities, and ultimately nations. But this mentality of self-centered activity drags on. So a real man of knowledge, a dhira, a real spiritualist, does not make such distinction. Because you understand, I am not this body. The body is simply a vessel, a vehicle. It has nothing to do with my true self. But in the material consciousness, in the illusory consciousness, everything we have sacrificed for the body. Everything we have learned on the platform of bodily conception. I am this body. I'm a man, woman, ugly, beautiful, Canadian, Chinese, this, that, so many. So a real dhira, he is free from this. He understands, I am not this body, I am eternal. The body is temporary, but I am eternal. There was never a time when I did not exist. And there shall never be a time when I cease to exist. So he understands this, not theoretically, but practically. And what is it practically? He sees everyone else equally. See? Everyone is a spirit soul. The man, woman, the child, the plant, the animals, they're also spirit souls. Unless he is a spirit soul, how can he grow? How can he create byproducts? How can he create small cubs? How can he dwindle? How can he age? How can he die? See, a material object cannot die. There's no death for matter. It simply changes. Right? The form changes. You can maintain that same form theoretically forever. In the same form you can. But when the spirit soul leaves the body, just like, for example, your family, you're very dear. If the spirit soul leaves that body, oh, how horrible it is. No matter how you try, you cannot bring that soul back into the body. Why? Because the spirit soul cannot be controlled by anything material. You see? Just like the oil drop in water. You probably have the experience. There's oil drop in a reservoir of water. So you can mix, you can try to mix as much as you want. The oil will never merge with matter. So we have decided at one point that I want to enjoy separately from Krishna. And Krishna has given us the opportunity. He put us, the soul, into this body. Sometimes people think that, oh, this is a great gift. This material world is, for our enjoyment. And this body is so beautiful and nice. Ramachandra and I were reading, there was this a preacher. Sometimes we read all the different pamphlets from different religious groups. And we analyze. So he had this kind of like a prayer for people that you look into the mirror and you praise your body. You praise your body. You tell to yourself that, oh God, you have created me the most perfect of all beings. I am the most perfect. I am the most beautiful. I am the pinnacle of your creation. So this is foolishness. It's not a gift. It is actually a punishment. The punishment. And then you can, intelligent man, a Thira, he understands this body is a burden. It's a burden. I'm dragging this burden. I'm always suffering. Like now, he has to massage his knees. There's suffering in the body. So constantly, the body always trying to solve some misery, some suffering. I'm hungry. Oh, this person told me something bad. Oh, I have to resolve this problem. Oh, my bank account is decreasing. There's always the mind is occupied. Solving the problems of the body. So, Adhira, he comes to the stage, Nakangshati, Nasuchati Nakangshati. No more lamenting, no more hankering. See, hankering is also suffering. I don't have it, I want it. Now I don't have it, now I have to work hard. So we think that happiness means temporary relief from suffering. Temporary relief from suffering. That is not happiness. That is simply a negation of suffering. Just like you suffering from a disease. And then you cure your disease. But unless you engage in the healthy activities, you go out, you socialize with your friends, you go on Facebook or something, you're not really considered to be healed. So simply denial that this material world is messed up and the body is a burden and so on and so on, this will not solve the problem. This will not solve the problem. We have to revive our original activity. And that is the real knowledge. That is the real knowledge. How to engage in a service so that everyone can be satisfied. Not simply my wife, my family, my mother, my father, my nation, my this, my that, my race, my gender. It's all illusion. All illusion. Serving the family, serving the society. Wasting time, wasting time. So, the scientific way how to apply our service propensity, this is called Sanatana Dharma, eternal occupational engagement, or every single spirit soul, rendering of service, finds its perfection when we apply that service propensity in this devotional service to Krishna. When we say Krishna, we means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, God. So in that way, everyone is going to be satisfied. And that is the real service to the spirit soul. Even if I serve everyone, the whole creation, if I am foolish like that, if I think that I can now serve everyone, all the living entities, I still cannot serve them because they're not the body. Feeding the body, caressing the body, or anything doesn't satisfy the soul. That is very superficial. I'm actually deceiving that person. I'm deceiving him. I'm helping him. But what I'm actually doing is I'm simply putting him further and further into illusion, because I'm making him attached to his own body. I'm supplying sense gratification to his body. That means that I'm deceiving him. You are the body. Yes, stay in this illusion. So the spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master, he does not flatter the disciple. That's why not many people are coming to our gathering, because the spiritual master sometimes speaks very harsh words. It seems harsh. Actually, these are very nectarian words. But we have to cure our misunderstanding. We have to come out of our misunderstanding. Then we'll taste the nectar of these words. Then we understand Krishna, his transcendental nature. And as we come out of this bodily conception of life, we cannot understand Krishna. We cannot understand who is God. That is not possible. Arjuna says, you are the most pure, Krishna. Param Pavitra. You are the most pure. So we cannot approach Krishna with a heart full of dirty things. That is not possible. What are these dirty things? What is sin? What is sinful activity? Sinful activity means a misunderstanding. Ultimately, it's a misunderstanding. So this is called nescience. People are trained how to be animalistic. Go, fight, get a diploma, get as much money as possible. Fight. Dog eat dog society. This is nescience. This is not real knowledge. The real knowledge begins when I understand I'm fool number one. Because I have this material body, that means I'm covered with ignorance. Sharira avidya jala. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, the prayer to Krishna Prasadam. So this body is lump of ignorance. It's lump of ignorance. We don't know what is going on in the body. I don't know what is going on in my intestines, in my heart, how the blood is being distributed. Completely unaware. Krishna takes charge of my body, but I'm not in charge. And the body so much influences the mind. So many things we have to do for the body. So how you want to say that you're independent? People come and they say, why should I accept this Krishna consciousness? What is the proof that your master is bona fide? What is the proof that Krishna is God? They challenge like that. Because they think that, they're in charge of their minds, of their body, they're in complete control of everything. So now Krishna has to submit to their control. So this is not a fact. The more I think I am independent from the laws of material energy, the more I think I can control the material energy, the more I become bound. The more bondage it creates. So it seems like the opposite. The spiritual master says, you surrender. You stop this independence. Stop this freedom. These are different rules, 18 different injunctions. How to be a real gentleman, a real Dhira. So no one likes to follow any rules. Rules, in our understanding, means limitation of my freedom. But if I understand I have no freedom, what freedom I have? I have to die. I'm now trying. I'm very free, I'm very independent, I'm enjoying in so many different ways. But when the death comes, and whatever I've tried to accomplish in this world will be swept away. No more. No more. Everything becomes pointless. Just like sometimes people, they have a near-death experience. So they're very close, they came very close to death. So they become very sober. Oh, what am I doing? What is my life? And they turn to spirituality, or they make their life better. They try to do some kind of austerity. Just like in Montreal, it's very popular. I see every here and there in the newspaper. There's a lot of emphasis on the ecology, environmental, issues. So this is also good. Some kind of a endeavor to perfect my life, to do some higher goal, instead of just gratifying my senses and trying to compete with others for sense gratification. So the spiritual master, if he's giving these rules not to bind us, but quite the opposite, to liberate us. Because we're conditioned, you're going to be conditioned either by the rule of the spiritual master or by the rule of material energy. Just like we follow so many rules in the government, in the state, in the nation. There are different laws. You cannot do whatever you want. I'm independent. I don't believe in the government. If someone says, I don't believe in the government, it's not my opinion, I have a different opinion than the government, what's going to happen? Then you'll be forced to accept the government rules. This is false idea that I'm free, I'm independent. It is not so. We should not be hypocritical. Every single step we've been controlled. If you don't pay your taxes, then there's going to be punishment. If you don't follow the rules on the roads, if you drive in the different stream, you're going to be arrested. If you don't do your duty, you're going to be punished. So what freedom you have? You have no freedom. Sometimes people think, Hare Krishna, sometimes people think that the government is crooked. It's all nonsense. All politicians are corrupted, and there's no real government. The whole system is wrong. So that's why it's justified to violate the law. But when they ask, okay, so what do you suppose? What do you suggest as a replacement? They have no answer. Someone who says that, the government is bad, he's putting himself automatically in the position of a leader. Automatically. If you say, this is not good, then if you don't give the solution to the problem, you're part of the problem. So people, they try to justify the government and this and that, but they're failing to give any alternative. So this government, okay, it might be crooked, but it is a reflection of the laws of material energy, the laws of nature. In nature, there are laws. If you put water in a cold temperature, it's going to become ice. It's a law. And the government, the laws amongst people, they reflect the laws of nature. And if the laws of the government, if they're not crooked, ultimately all the government laws are coming from Manu Samhita. This is not manufactured by man. Manu Samhita is part of the Vedic literatures, and the Vedas are aparushya. They're not man-made. They're coming from God, from Krishna. Krishna has designed this world, and He has given us the proper rules and regulations so we can be in this material world and conduct our affairs nicely, so we can ultimately reach perfection.
What you ask?
So people are very much averse to follow any rules, any authority. This is all wrong. We're being cheated. So they have a tendency to dismiss any sort of spiritual master or authority or scripture like that. But you cannot go without authority. Must be authority, because the authority is derived from our circumstance. You know, we're under the authority of the material nature. So it's always like that. There's people who are strong, there are people who are weak, there are people who are intelligent, there are people who are foolish. And it is a very bad policy to make everyone equal on the bodily platform. This creates simply confusion. Just like in the body, we have different parts. The hands, the leg, the head, like that. Now the business of the hand, I can take this watch, is to pick up. The business of the leg is to walk. The business of the head is to think. Now if the hand is trying to think and the leg is trying to pick and the head is trying to, I don't know, walk, then we have a problem. There's chaos, right? So seeing everyone equally doesn't mean on the bodily platform. Quite the opposite. We should recognize the differences. You have a different propensity. It's like our friend Yon, he says, I have a Kshatriya propensity. He says like that. So he should be encouraged to act in a Kshatriya way. Kshatriya means a ruler. There's the caste system. This is a misunderstanding. The caste system is not by birth. What is going on presently in India is a perversion of the original pure caste system. The castes are there naturally. Chaturvanyam Maya system. There are intelligent men, there are administrative men, there are people who do business, and there are people who are workers. These castes are naturally there. Naturally. They're not a sign of you are this, you are that, you are that. It's natural. We have different propensities. But in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Vedas, we have guidance how everyone can perfect his propensity and how also one can distinguish whose propensity is who. So that is very much missing. Nowadays, people who are Shudras, who have no respect, who have no knowledge, they're put into the position of a scientist just because he was studying in some university. In the Krishna conscious system, the Vedic system, the knowledge is not simply getting the knowledge. One should also develop a proper character. Otherwise, then knowledge becomes very dangerous in his hands. Right? The scientists, very dangerous men. They have no culture, they have no respect, no tolerance. They can be bribed, just like the atomic bomb. Right? That was invented in Germany, and then somehow, through bribes or some political maneuver, it was imported to the United States of America. So the scientists, they have no character, they have no loyalty. If the enemy gives me money, I'm going to give it to him. See? So a Vedic scientist, a Brahmana, he's not easily bribed. He's a man of a character. Man of a character. Just like in our Krishna consciousness movement, we recommend that everyone you should follow these regulative principles. No illicit sex life, no gambling, no intoxication, no meat eating, like that. So this makes a person a gentleman. If he follows these instructions and becomes a gentleman. Unless one becomes sinless, unless he becomes at least to a certain extent free from the temptation, free from greed, lust, anger, then he should not be given knowledge, because that knowledge becomes dangerous in his hands. So the spiritual knowledge, the divyam gyan, the transcendental knowledge which will take us beyond this material existence, is passed down through the chain of disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajasya vidu sikkalanayama yogo nasta parantapa. And when this disciplic succession, when the discipline is not being followed, then those people, they might even have the knowledge. They might have the knowledge of the Vedas, of the Bhagavad Gita. There's so many commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. This Swami, this Guru, that Guru. Even some Prabhupada says that there's even some dentist, some doctor. He made a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, manufacturing his interpretation that Krishna is a doctor and Arjuna is a patient. And this is a conversation about health. So one can exercise his mental skills to the topmost extent, manufacturing all kinds of interpretations. But if you want to understand or realize the message of the Bhagavad Gita, then we have to follow the disciplic succession. We have to follow the discipline. We have to become a Dhira. Not a nonsense. Eat anything, have sex life with anyone, gamble, taking intoxication. This is not a Dhira. This is a person who is completely taken over by the material energy. He becomes a slave of his senses, Godas. So we try to be the Goswamis, the control of the senses. And these educational systems, these universities, these colleges, they're making Godasas. They're making those who are servants of the senses. But it's very difficult to speak of real knowledge, because they have a misunderstanding of what actually knowledge means. They don't understand what knowledge means. For them, knowledge means some kind of information which will help me to become the controller in this material world, to become the enjoyer, to become the exploiter. They don't understand. They think this is a belief. This Krishna consciousness is a belief. It's a religion. It's a sentiment. And they dismiss the scientific presentation our spiritual master has given us as some sentimentalism. So it is very difficult. It becomes very difficult to even communicate with these rascals. Even there's no question of communication. That is why Lord Chaitanya has given us this process of Harinam. That process is always there. The chanting is always there. But Lord Chaitanya has come to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. He has come to initiate it as the topmost process of self-realization. No other process will be effective at this time and age. No silent meditation, no yoga practice. Don't cheat yourself. The Brihadaranyaka Purana says very clearly, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kado Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Gati Ranata. This Harinam, this chanting of the holy name. But this chanting, Lord Chaitanya is giving, he's the most munificent of all the avatars. He's giving without any discrimination. And he's authorizing everyone to become the spiritual master. Whatever you are, you become a spiritual master by repeating the message of Krishna as it is. You're repeating the message of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. You can become a spiritual master immediately. Immediately. It is very liberal. This Krishna consciousness movement is very liberal. Just like here, we have started this temple. No one asked us to do this. We have done this, inspired by the teachings of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So you can also open a small center like that. There's no a barrier. Anyone can do this. Chant Hare Krishna, you read the books of our spiritual master, you discuss, and you eat Krishna Prasadam. A very simple method. But at the same time, we should be very careful that we do not deviate from the original purpose of this chanting and of this knowledge. That's why we have to take up the discipline also. Otherwise we become what is called a sadhya. A devotee is not an actual devotee, he is a pseudo devotee who is acting like a devotee on the outside, but internally he is simply enjoying the senses. So it is necessary that any intelligent, any gentleman, any intelligent person accepts a bona fide spiritual master. Tad vijnanatam sadgurum eva vikachit. Tasmat guru prapadita jigyasu shreya uttamam. Just like it was mentioned. One must have a bona fide spiritual master who can lead him gradually to the stage of spiritual realization, and to such an acharya or spiritual master, he must submit himself with service and relevant questions. So there is a period before one surrenders to the spiritual master. He should first of all hear. Not that I simply accept the spiritual master because everyone is accepting the spiritual master, so let me follow like a sheep. You should hear first of all. That's why our spiritual master has given us all these literatures. So he's giving you the opportunity to associate with him very intimately. Reading the books of Srila Prabhupada is a very intimate association with the spiritual master. Very intimate. But one must be interested in the subject matter. One should realize, I'm being controlled. I want something, but I cannot have it. I want to be happy. I can have all kinds of material facilities. But that desire to be happy, that I cannot get. Why is that? I want pure relationships. I want to deal with everyone on equal platform. I want to have real appreciation. I want to feel real love. But I cannot have it. So, when I approach the spiritual master, I should be ready to accept his guidance. Not that I simply want to improve my material situation or increase my mundane knowledge. that knowledge later on, which I'm going to use to simply boost about my own position, or to destroy someone, to manipulate someone. No, spiritual master is not our servant. I should submit and hear with an open mind. Hear with an open mind. Hear as much as possible. This love feast is a good opportunity to hear from the spiritual master and associate with devotees to clarify different conceptions. But if one wants to be serious, then he should come every day. So once a week, you come, you hear, and then the rest of the week you forget everything. The Maya is so powerful. As soon as you leave the temple, immediately Maya attacks. Come, enjoy sense gratification. Come here, come there, dragging here and there. Come. It is not so easy that I remain Krishna conscious, whatever I am. It's not so easy. That's why the temple is there for this purpose. So people can get a spiritual oasis. They can get a little bit more, fill up the engine, spiritual engine. So then when we hear sufficiently, and when we're convinced that this personality is absolutely perfect, if one wants to teach absolute truth, he must be absolutely perfect, no flaw, no mistake. If you accept the spiritual master who makes mistakes, your whole life is spoiled. Your whole life is spoiled. Therefore, the spiritual master must be absolutely perfect. But the spiritual master is there, and he's absolutely perfect. He's teaching the absolute truth, the Vedas. But if you don't accept him absolutely, then again, you can have no success. You have to surrender absolutely. Just like Arjuna. We should emulate the example of Arjuna. Arjuna says, "My Lord, Krishna, I accept whatever you say in total. In total. Not picky. Oh, this I like. This I do not like." No. That is not absolute knowledge. It's a relative knowledge. It's a mistaken knowledge. I should be ready to accept everything. If the spiritual master says you get out, jump out of the window and die, I should be ready to do that. Of course, he's not going to say foolish shit like that. But my attitude should be like that. Yes. Actually, I'm committing suicide. Without the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, I'm already committing suicide. Because this life is simply wasted in sense gratification. I have not even made an attempt to get out. Accepting a spiritual master doesn't mean that I've reached perfection. That is where my endeavor to get out of this material existence begins. Where it begins. So then when I'm convinced, yes, I'm ready to accept this person as my spiritual master, then the study begins. That's where the study begins. There's a preliminary opportunity. One can associate, one can hear what is this all about, and so on and so on. But unless he accepts the spiritual master, unless he's convinced, yes, this I want to do, he cannot understand. Because it is realized knowledge. It is not a theoretical knowledge. Just like you're learning how to play a musical instrument. So you can learn from a book. Okay, the strings, you put like that, you put the fingers like that, But unless you grab the instrument you play, your knowledge is incomplete. So in the same way, if we hear, but there's no surrender to Krishna and no service, the spiritual master, he's teaching us how to serve Krishna. That knowledge, that hearing is also useless. It is not useless. It is better than nothing. But we can't reach perfection. See? So we should be serious. Why am I wasting time? I should reach perfection. Otherwise, why am I coming to this association? I should come here because I want to be absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. What is the absolutely perfect? I become a pure lover of God. Not a topmost scholar, Sanskrit scholar, not the topmost yogi who can control the material laws of nature, not a big performer of sacrifice, making big yagyas, but a pure lover of God. Pure love of Krishna. So this is real knowledge. How to become a pure lover of Krishna. And if I want to be a nonsense, then Krishna will give me opportunity. You want to be a nonsense? Then Krishna himself will give you this knowledge. Ishvara sarabhutanam hridesha junatishtadi. He is in everyone's heart. Krishna resides in every living entity's heart. And he gives us guidance according to our desires. So if I want to be a nonsense, Krishna will make you the topmost nonsense, because that's what you want. And if you want to be the topmost devotee, then Krishna will give you the intelligence how to become the topmost devotee. The only condition is that you must be willing. That choice you have to make. I have to be willing. Yes, I want to be with Krishna. I want to get out of this material existence. I don't want to stay here and pursue these blind endeavors. Get more money, get more this, get more happiness, get this community, and so on and so on. It's all going to be a failure. All this unity, even the endeavor to have nice environment and ecological balance, that will also be a failure. Because who's in charge of nature? Krishna. Krishna is in charge. If you do not please Krishna, then Krishna can immediately smash this whole Montreal city. Krishna's flick of a finger, he can finish it in a shot like that. So we should not be very puffed up that, oh, now I'm solving big problems here. You're insignificant in the vision of Krishna. You're insignificant. Just like the ants, you see ants, the anthill. So they also solving some problem, very difficult. They move around and it's a big calamity or something. But to us it seems insignificant, all these ant problems. So in the same way, a dhira, a person who is self-realized, for him the problems of the material world seem very insignificant. And the material affairs seem very boring. On and on. Sometimes people complain, why are you chanting on and on? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So there was a person at the Tam-Tams, he was challenging like that. Why are you chanting the same thing over and over and over? And so I challenged him back. I said, and you coming here to the Tam-Tams, the same cigarette, the same ganja, the same beer, the same girlfriend, boyfriend, sex life. So that person, he appreciated. He laughed and said, yes, you're right. We're chanting Krishna, 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 Krishna. And they chanting Maya, 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 Maya. I want to remain in illusion. In this way or that way, doesn't matter. The platform is the same. I want to stay in this material world and become bound by my senses. I guess I'll stop here, and if there are any questions, you're very much welcome to ask. Yes?
Well, it's about the environment. I mean, if Krishna created the environment, created nature,
Yes.
why shouldn't we protect it?
Why shouldn't we protect it?
Yeah.
You cannot protect. How can you protect? You cannot protect your body from death. That is a foolish idea.
I will make a comment. You cannot accomplish anything without Krishna.
Okay.
So if you just by yourself, on your own, want to protect the environment, then it's like Prabhupada is saying, then You just smash it like that. It's not gonna work. But
We don't say we should
But-
not protect the environment.
it's not what he's saying. But what he's saying is if you, by yourself, believing that you independently can do it by yourself, you're gonna fail. But if you, with the right consciousness, operating, how to say, with Krishna's blessing, then you are not doing it. But how to say, it's Krishna doing it, but you're in a way interacting with Krishna. Then you can do it. But
The environment is under the control of Krishna. And what people perceive as the ecological crisis, this is simply Mother Nature withdrawing the resources because people are simple. This is how the Bhagavad Gita explains.
So it's karma. Is that it?
It's karma, yes.
because you're not respecting the mother. You're abusing, or you're doing this, or this, and this, and this. The Mother Nature, I forgot the name of the goddess, but for example. So, of course, she's withdrawing. So by then paying respects and doing all of this to Krishna and to proper way, it will automatically be fixed. It's like you don't have to try to solve every problem separately. You don't water all the leaves independently from the tree. You go right directly to the root, and you water the root, and automatically all the branches, all the leaves are nourished.
Okay.
What is the obsession with protecting the environment?
And I mean, I guess what people like about nature is that we're living in a material world. And that nature is the only thing that keeps us away from it. So
Away from the material world?
away from the city life.
Okay,
It's like an invasion.
yes.
So this is what I think people are obsessed about. They want to have this safe place. It's like an alternative for spirituality. I don't want to be spiritual, but I want to enjoy nature. That's the motivation, I guess.
Yeah, that what actually creates the city life, ultimately. The city life, see, in the beginning people were like this, more in touch with nature and so on and so on. But this idea, I want to be the enjoyer, that created the city life. City life is artificial. Everything is made artificially. You know? No one is self-sufficient. So if you want to be the enjoyer, there are many others who also want to be the enjoyer. Right? And there's automatically fight. So the city life is the combination of that fight. And one is trying to cheat some way or other. You know, I'm going to give you this discount and you can live like that. You don't have to grow your food. We're going to give you food. You will just work for us. It's a competition. You know, how one should enjoy the nature. And ultimately this is the results, the city life. So we say that is a good inclination, a mode of goodness. It's a mode of goodness. Someone who is inclined to reside in nature and so on and so on is a mode of goodness. But unless we give up this mentality of I am the enjoyer, then you know it's going to be the same problem again and again and again. And so many hippies, when Prabhupada came here, they were also setting up self-sufficient farms and so on and so on. But there was always a breakage. Always a breakage because they're missing the central point. You know, just like you have different circles. You have your circle. You serve your family or society or girlfriend, whatever. Then I have my circle. I also serve my... So the circles, they clash one another. You know, you want to protect your family, but you interfering with my sense gratification. You know, so people are enjoying here in the West, but in the third world countries they suffer so much because of the same reason. So if we put Krishna in the center, then you can have your circle. You can still, you know, protect nature and everything, whatever you do, but it revolves around Krishna. You see? And I can also have my circle, but because Krishna is, so these circles, they don't clash. There's harmony.
Okay.
This is our philosophy. This is what we're trying. We don't say that, don't protect the environment. Quite the opposite. Devotees, they're the best protector of the environment. Simply by abstaining from meat, so much is accomplished. There's the topmost. I was reading the meat industry is one of the topmost causes of pollution of the environment. So devotees, not simply they abstain from meat, but they make others abstain from meat. They want these animal rights. They simply, show these cruel videos how they, but they can't make anyone give it up. People can even see it, but because they're addicted, they have no replacement. They might even see it as, I know it's bad, but I like my burger, my this and that. So we give the substitute, we give prasadam, we go out. So we go every Sunday, we go to the temples, we give cookies to people. We can do more. If more people support, we can feed the whole of Montreal with prasadam. This is one of our mission. We want to distribute prasadam so people don't have to buy their food. The food should not be that you have to pay for the food. This is your necessity. How can you pay for the necessity? People think, I live in a free society. What free? You have to pay for your basic necessity. If you have to pay to be alive, what kind of peaceful society is that? It's a society of anxiety. And if this is supposed to be the impetus for you to work, it's a horrible, horrible environment. You're working simply so you don't die. This is not peaceful society. This is slavery. You see? So this is the root cause. Because people are not serving Krishna. They're trying to serve this, that, so many, and there's going to be always a clash, always injuries. So these philosophies, they're misleading. Let's protect the environment, let's be unified, and this ism, that ism, socialism, communism, feminism, this ism, that. This is all just patchwork. We try to, do a little something, and a bigger problem is arising. By your solving, you creating another problem.
Is this true?
Yes.
Every-
Sorry. Just wait. Is this
Yeah.
point clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any further questions? Yes.
So I was thinking one of the reasons why we have a lot of problems in the world now on a global scale is the population. And now that there's 7 billion people, would you say that it's better for a Krishna conscious person not to have children, because then he's not adding to the burden of, the world is overpopulated and it's there's enough resources, but still people are going to be greedy anyway, and this has caused a lot of big cities and pollution and crime and all that. So,
No, it's a bogus idea. I tell you very frankly, this overpopulation theory is a bogus idea. Bogus number one. There's no overpopulation. This is simply created because people don't know how to manage. So they have made this excuse. There's too many people here. This is a nonsense, a fool. There's too many people, let's kill them and then we're going to be happy. A foolish idea. Prabhupada actually, he made the statement that there's so much land lying vacant that food can be grown, that we can feed the whole planet 12 times more. 12 times more. You can have more food than it is now. There's simply mismanagement. They're throwing food in the ocean in the West just so they can have an economical balance. They bribing the farmers, don't grow. Food stuff, instead of giving it to the poor, they throw it in the ocean, because if they give it for free, the food loses value, then no one will buy it anymore. So they rather throw it in the ocean. This is the difficulty, not overpopulation.
Okay.
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he says that he was a Naishtika brahmachari, a brahmachari from his very birth. Very, very strict. No women association, nothing. So he said, I can have sex life 1,000 times, no problem. If every single child I beget becomes a Mahabhagavat, a pure devotee. You know, I'm ready to have sex 1,000 times, no problem. If my child is a pure devotee. So this is foolish, you know, materialistic thinking, you know, more, less, like that. Like sometimes people say, oh, you don't have many members. So if it was the real religion or real teaching, then everyone would take to it. This is our materialistic thinking. So in the same way, they think, oh, the more people, the more it's going to be a problem, you know. And actually, you can't stop. They try to do birth control and this and that. They can't, because one is not taking birth on account of, okay, the man and woman, they desire and they have children. It's not because of this. One is taking birth because of his karma. And that's why sometimes there's sex life and there's no pregnancy, because the soul has not entered. Unless Krishna gives permission, you can't have life. And in the same way, you try to check, you know, the, what is called, contraceptives.
Yeah.
Contraceptives. They have, and they have the abortions. And so much they're trying to stop the population, and like you said, you know, the population is growing. 7 billion now. And it will grow more.
Yeah.
So, in our Krishna consciousness, we say there is no harm. You beget children, as many as you like. No problem. But you become a devotee. And make your children devotees also. It's so beneficial. See, devotee, what is the problem? The demons are being begotten. The Varna Shankara. The unwanted population. The children are born not because the parents, they want to assist